Yeah, schoolboy error. There we go. Apologies. If we start the meeting and go into item 1, public participation sessions. Anybody? No. Okay, thank you. Item 2, apologies for absence. Um, 2B, to close disclosure of councillors' interest in any matters relating to the Code of Conduct. Councillor Marco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's the usual to disclose that I'm the Vice Chair of the Shropshire Council's Northern Area Planning Committee, and that any decisions made at that meeting will be based on this information and evidence presented there, and not as a result of what goes on in this particular meeting today.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Chair. This is to disclose for openness and transparency that I am an absent member of both the congregation and the electoral roll for the parish of Holy Trinity. However, I am in no governing capacity to do with the school, so any decision I make will not be influenced by them, and I have neither a financial, pecuniary or biased interest in that item whatsoever.
Thank you. As previously, as member of Shropshire Council, as the Cabinet Member for Planning, but that's strategic, it's not for day-to-day applications. Has anybody else got any interest? Okay, thank you. Item 3, the minutes. You've all had a copy of the minutes. Is everybody happy they're a true and accurate record? Those in favour, yeah. Thank you. Planning applications. You've got single story extension at number 57 first. Has anybody got anything to say on that one?
Happy to move, no comment.
Second by Jonathan. Everybody in favour of that? Thank you. Next one, 70 Oak Drive. Demolition of existing garage, front porch and rear outbuilding and replaced with a wraparound extension. Has anybody got any comments on that one? Jonathan?
No observation?
That's seconded. Is everybody happy with that? Thank you. 29 Odd Millen Court, fell one ash tree and one sycamore with some crowning on another. Has anybody got any comments on that one?
Just this I've been to see Mr. Paul. He's taken professional advice. Everything seems in order and I'd like to move.
Anybody?
What are you moving? You're moving.
I'm agreeing the motion, agreeing the...
no comment, or you're...
No comment.
I'd just like to suggest that we do get...
Is everybody happy with that? Okay, thank you. Another tree app in the park to fell the cedar tree. Has anybody got any comments on that one?
Not following my own advice, thank you. Might seem odd that we're commenting on a planning application when we're the applicant, but I think it's important that you are able to sort of separate your role as, you know, responsible for the park and your role as consultees in the planning process as well. So, you know, please feel free to add comments and observation, and that's fine. Slightly different to your role as running the council.
Is anybody,
No comment now.
you are allowed to comment.
Yeah. Is this a cedar tree in the park? I know that we've got to cut out the tops and things because of the danger, because they've grown, but I'm always uncomfortable. Is the tree rotten? Has it been... I don't like taking down trees if you don't have to.
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, it's obviously as part of, sorry, I'm going to give you perhaps a little bit of an unhelpful answer. I do apologise. So you've had a tree survey done, you've commissioned a tree survey, and it set out a recommendation. We're following that recommendation now. You know, that information is available. If you don't want to progress that way, then you can clearly make an objection if you wish. Doesn't mean that we won't carry out the work if the tree officer says it's okay.
It's right up against the retaining wall, and there are cracks and bulges in the retaining wall, so the root structure will be stunted because it's growing up against the wall. So it's not an ideal position for that tree, which looks like it's fine when you look at the photograph, but it's obviously going to have a problem, and if the wall goes, the tree might go with it, and then you've got all sorts of other problems. So, did anybody second you, Doug? Jonathan will do, yeah, okay. Is everybody happy with that recommendation? Thank you. Then you've got another one for the park for 7 trees, various bits of trimming. Has anybody got any comments on those? Okay. Is everybody in favour of that? Please show. Thank you. Then you've got the land north of Shrewsbury Road, the erection and display of the advertising hoarding. Has anybody got any comments on that one?
Was there an image attached of this, or a proposed image?
There is.
Was it in the...
It's in the pack of stuff. It's a 3 metre square board on legs in a V shape, so it faces the traffic in both directions. And you've got a similar application in a minute for Jonathan.
As long as it's not a distraction to drivers, then no observation.
It's using their corporate colours. You'd have to find it in the SharePoint thing. Oh, if we got it. So it's a black sign.
Is there a time limit for this sign? Is it there in perpetuity, or is it...
Well, they've asked for temporary, but I don't think there's an upper limit on it, but they could specify that at the shop.
Yeah, I would recommend that there's a limit on it, because whilst I understand that whilst the property has been developed, it's helpful to know where it is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want it there permanently, otherwise we clutter up all our roads with more signs than we need.
Yeah. There is an artist's impression of what it looks like as well in the pack. Mark?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think this is just standard practice when you're having a development, and it is purely to advertise the fact that the development's taking place, and I wouldn't expect it to stay there beyond the development itself. So, but as Councillor Kerr said, it might be an idea to put that down in writing, just to make sure.
A time period rather than saying that, because development could take years, actually. It could take a decade. It depends when they want to release the last house, doesn't it? So, you know, ideally we'd say for a period of 2 or 3 years, and they could always come back for more to renew that application would be my recommendation.
I take your point, but they will probably want it there until the last house has gone. So
Yeah,
it depends how they phase it, doesn't it? Yeah. But, any other comments on that?
They have put a time limit of 2050, sorry. they put a time limit saying 25th of July 2025 to the 25th of August 2028 in the application.
So you're content now with that?
I mean, what I'm saying is that condition is on that basis that we
Yeah.
turn their request into an actual
Just
planning
underline
condition.
what
Yeah.
it's got, yeah. Okay, is everybody happy with that? Okay, thank you. Installation of an ATM collar at the NatWest. Has anybody got any comments on that one? It's a fiberglass purple thing going around the cash machine, and because it's conservation area, that's why it's come forward. Go on.
Is it internally illuminated?
I don't know.
I jest, I'm sorry.
But it'll be in their punchy bold purple, looking at the pack. So just whether you think that's appropriate for the location. Yeah.
No comment. I mean, it's quite important we keep cash points in the town, actually. I'm more worried about cash points being lost. So, yeah, I move no comment.
Thank you. Then you've got another V-shaped sign closer to Mile End this time, but it's exactly the same as the previous one you've decided. So any comments on it? Same. Okay. Is everybody in favour of that? Same time limit, underlining.
The observation was that the planning condition, we turn their statement that it's only there for 3 years into a planning condition that it's only there for 3 years. Otherwise, it's just a statement and the planning conditions won't reflect it.
So is everybody in favour of that? Right. Thank you. And then you've got 3 to 5, the cross erection and display of fascia sign and fascia panel. Has anybody got any observations on that one? Yeah, yeah. And there's the service entrance sign at the back as well. But it's basically like for like swap. It's just not going to look faded from what I can see. And if you said no, I dare say that all they'd do is stick a bit of blue vinyl over the thing. So if you said no, I don't think it would change. Okay.
I think it would be nice if it was a wooden sign rather than a plastic one, but that's just my opinion.
You're probably
We have
fine.
a design guide, don't we? But it doesn't presumably affect signage. I don't know. There is a design guide for the town centre now, isn't there, shops? So I imagine the question would be, it needs to be in accordance with whatever the design guide requires. And I don't know what it requires, but we
Yeah,
should-
no, it being a conservation area and where it is, a bit like the NatWest thing, I think you could easily get a lot of gaudy stuff up here, but because it's the same as what's there already, then it's going to be limited scope to insist on. But I agree entirely that it should follow the design code. Yeah. Well, move with that comment. Yeah. Okay. Is everybody happy with that? Thank you very much. Then you've got the planning decisions for noting. Anybody got any observations on any of those? It's only for noting, so. John,
Move we note.
thank you. Thank you. Everybody in favour of that? Thank you very much. Now, item 5, the consultation on the 20 mile an hour speed limit and parking restrictions at Holy Trinity. Has anybody got any comments about that one? Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think I could say anything against having this safety feature outside of school. It seems common sense to myself. The only thing I would bring up, and it's not necessarily for this particular application, but it actually does apply right across the town, and that's the question of enforcement. It doesn't matter what signs you have, speed limits you have, if there's no enforcement. I mean, the majority of us use these signs sensibly, and the electronic speed sign that you see, it's a reminder that you're doing 25 or 35 when you should be doing the normal speed limit, in which case you just then slow down. But there is a small minority of people, drivers, who seem to ignore these and go at all kinds of crazy speeds throughout Oswestry. I will take this opportunity to say I was contacted this week by a lady who came across a car coming down the wrong one-way system in Middleton Road by Cabin Lane. She was going to go up and this van came down the other way. So it's the enforcement I'm concerned about here, not the actual application. The application is sensible.
Scott, any?
I fully support the application. My only concern is we end up with a town pepper potted with 20-mile-an-hour areas, then presumably you can then go 30 again. And it's just that stop-start of 30, then 20, then 30, then 20, which starts to become a bit of a nightmare and leads to people taking little notice of it because they know there's no enforcement cameras there. So we already had a motion, didn't we, the last council to write to the portfolio holder. I don't know whether we got a response or anything, but we'll have that back presumably to a future council meeting. But it's just, I don't think we can do anything about it, but it's just the more and more schools get 20, obviously kids don't live outside the school, their journey starts from their home. The first bit of their journey, apparently vehicles can do 30, suddenly when they get to the school they can do 20. It never seemed a particularly rational policy to me, to be perfectly honest, and I think it's time we reviewed it and looked towards a more of an area-based 20 mile an hour. It's not a consultation on this because I support this, so it's just that.
Mark?
Yeah, I think in these particular cases it's more a case of where you're dropping children off and picking them up again, where the safety feature is necessary, because you do have children kind of milling around, you have parked cars, you have all kinds of things. I take Councillor Keir's point about the seeing so many changes that you become immune to actual signage, but I think in this particular case it's more to do with the safety outside the school.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, the policy was a Conservative policy, and it said we're trying to do this in every school. In many schools, you can't drop your kids off in the 20-mile-an-hour zone. You're not allowed to, so you actually keep dropping your kids off in the 30-mile-an-hour zone. What it does is you've got somebody coming along, say, Middleton Road into town. They've reduced their speed to 20. Do you really want them to speed up to 30 before they hit Salop Road? Is that really sensible? And having reduced their speed to 20, surely a better thing would be to keep it at 20. And that's my fear with these. It sort of gives people a carte blanche, or because there'll be a 30-mile-an-hour sign. And we had this on Willow Street, didn't we? When they put a 20-mile sign, when the 20 ends, they give you a 30 sign, which gives you a green light to go at 30, which is just the wrong message to be sending out.
Yeah, I mean, you're both right. There's plenty of research that shows if you take all of the line work and all the signs away, then everybody goes really slow because they're really confused. So I mean, that's what they do at Painbury and other places. So there's an argument in both directions, but certainly there's a specific need outside the school, and I think it's definitely appropriate. Yeah, so is everybody happy with the suggestion of support? I would say that we should also make sure that the neighbourhood team are alive on the enforcement thing, as well as reporting to portfolio holders and so on. But, yeah, okay.
Just in terms of the response, because this is a consultation which closes tomorrow, I think we'll highlight the council's existing policy. So I think it's worth doing that because the traffic engineer may not see sight of that, if that's okay as well. So it just gives the whole rounded response.
We're looking at our speed activated sign that we've got on Middleton Road. I don't know where that is in connecting with this zone, but maybe if it was in the zone, we could be catching information for the police on people who are not complying with it.
I think it's just on the edge, isn't it? It's further back from the school.
Maybe we should move it's my question. Maybe rethink its location, given that there's now a 20-mile-an-hour zone, and it might be more useful to be part of it. Visually, a motorist would see that as part of the enforcement. It might help compliance.
Is everybody happy with those, or got anything else to want to add? Okay, everybody happy? Okay, thank you. Item 6, street naming and numbering. You've got the list of names in the pack. From what I'm aware of, if you suggest a name, they can consider it. The Royal Mail could object to it if it's too similar to other places, but it'd be different if it was had a historical connection or something you wanted to name it after that, I suppose, but it's up to members.
I've been in dialogue. The timeline for this was very difficult. It only arrived in the inbox this week, and to get meaningful consultation on this has been quite difficult. So I put it on the agenda when I possibly shouldn't have done. So I have highlighted the need to make sure that if parish councils are to be consulted, that they're given adequate time to respond. So fortnights doesn't give many councils much time to respond at all, and this is the only consultation. There's no other consultation in the process at all. So I have made those observations to the street naming team at Shropshire.
Jonathan?
I would like to state what little thought and consideration into the town's identity has been put into those names, and perhaps they need to consider revising them based on local amenities and figures.
I think you might have to suggest the changes, because this is your only chance. That's what I would say.
Yeah, thanks. One thing we have to bear in mind is this is only part of phase 1, which means there's going to be more coming up as time goes on. But if we can't make any suggestions for these, then bear it in mind for the next lot to come along.
If it's a meaningful consultation, if you've got ideas, I'll happily put them forward. The only thing that there can't be is there can't be somebody who is still alive. So to get the recognition, you have to be no.
So Arcadia Avenue is the one I dislike the most. Wilford Avenue, something like that, might be more suited.
I take it this is because it's by the livestock place. Okay, so it needs to be possibly related to that in comparison, but Dexter Garden and Arcadia are, in my humble opinion, pretty bad.
This is a very loose interpretation of the rural theme, but since it's right behind the college, maybe one of them should be called College View or something. College. Yeah. What's that? No, what I mean is like, yeah, what I mean.
is it worth speaking to the cattle market to see if there's varieties of cattle and sheep which might be suitable for names to go in with their theme? I don't think their theme's wrong, it's just I think the names they've chosen are a bit daft. But I'm not an expert on knowing the various types of cattle and sheep that historically have been to Oswestry, but if the cattle market, who we work with quite closely, could give us a list of names, some of those might be a lot more pertinent and suitable. And, yeah, we could back that up. It just, it's only a suggestion. You've got good contacts with them, haven't you, Aaron?
And failing that, if we've actually said in the response we would have preferred they'd have been that kind of choice of name, then we've kind of got a fallback position.
Maybe we could think about drawing up a list for phase 2 as well, rather than being caught out at the last minute a second time round.
Yeah, but was this the location where the camp was, that wasn't George and Gilbert? It wasn't Gilbert and George, was it? But those people, they weren't located there. No, that was the other side of the... But that would be an interesting thought to pursue, because we know we have stories about a number of people who were stationed at that camp area, and they're dead, so we haven't got problems over. But it would bring alive, wouldn't it, Jonathan? We have documenters, some evidence of some of the people who came to Oswestry camp. I don't that camp there, but it's Park Hall, I imagine, rather than there. Anyway.
One of them was at Park Hall and the other one never came to Oswestry, but yeah.
I was going to say that the camp was a bit closer to town than the camp was a bit further out than the phase 1, but we got phase 4 coming, which seemed more appropriate place. So with having that as a suggestion at that time, yeah.
So go on.
Something you can do a bit of work on it. I'm looking at Jonathan, because he's very good on his history, and rather than try and get ahead of this, rather than wait for them to come with 2 weeks' notice of street names that are daft, well, we start saying these are some suggested local... You go for it, Jonathan.
I'll get you a list for phase 2.
And if they don't pick them, you've still got that list for some future date, haven't you? So is everybody content that we've covered the response we want to make? Okay, thank you. I think that's everything. Yeah. Thank you. And I think that's the end of the meeting. Thank you very much.